Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel, Body Mind Healing. My name is Maria Sanchez. I am the author of the book Through the Storm, and my background is in holistic health, family practice, psychiatric mental health, and a doctor of nursing practice. The case for today is: do stimulants change our personality? Stimulants can influence how we feel, think, communicate, and behave while they are active in the body. However, changes in attention, energy, impulse control, or emotional regulation are not the same as changes in personality. Personality refers to the relatively enduring qualities that make each person unique. Their values, interests, sense of humor, emotional depth, creativity, temperament, ways of connecting with others, and characteristic approach to life. Distractibility, restlessness, impulsivity, difficulty organizing, and problems regulating emotions should not be confused with personality. These are symptoms that might arise when the brain has difficulty regulating attention, stimulation, inhibition, and emotional responses. They do not determine whether someone is compassionate, thoughtful, creative, loving, generous, curious, spiritual, introverted, humorous, or deeply sensitive. A restless person is not necessarily impatient. Someone who interrupts because of difficulty controlling impulses is not necessarily disrespectful. A person who struggles to complete tasks is not necessarily careless or unmotivated. Someone who becomes emotionally overwhelmed is not necessarily dramatic or difficult. Symptoms can influence behavior, but behavior that occurs while the neurological system is under strain does not define the person's identity, values, or character. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, is classified as a neurodevelopmental condition characterized by persistent patterns of inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. Researchers continue to study the contributions of genetics, brain structure and activity, neurotransmission, hormones, molecular processes, and early environmental influences. Therefore, it is more accurate to understand it as a complex brain-based condition rather than a personality problem or the result of a single chemical deficiency. When stimulant medication is effective, it might reduce symptoms that interfere with everyday functioning. The person might find it easier to concentrate, pause before responding, organize their thoughts, complete tasks, or remain present during conversations. These improvements do not mean that the medication has created a new personality. They mean that the person might be functioning with less neurological interference. In this sense, treatment might make it easier for the person to express themselves and carry out their intentions. Someone who cares about others might be better able to remain attentive during a conversation when distractibility decreases. A person might find it easier to organize and communicate their thoughts. They might also be better able to begin, continue, and complete tasks that previously required greater effort. The medication does not create empathy, thoughts, motivation, interest, or personal qualities. It might simply reduce some of the symptoms that interfere with attention, organization, communication, and follow through. Nevertheless, stimulants can also produce unwanted changes in a person's mental and emotional state. A person might feel tense, unusually quiet, emotionally numb, anxious, irritable, overly serious, rigid, or disconnected. They might become intensely focused while experiencing a loss of spontaneity, appetite, sleep, or emotional warmth. Some people may describe feeling unlike themselves while taking a stimulant. When this occurs, it is important to discuss the changes with the prescribing doctor. This reaction should be understood as possible medication effects, not as evidence that the person's true personality has disappeared or that a new personality has been created. They might indicate that the dose is too high, that the medication remains active for too long, that the formulation is not a good match, or that the person is particularly sensitive to its effects. The most important consideration is not whether the person has become more productive, quieter, or easier for others to manage. The more meaningful issue is whether the person is functioning more effectively while continuing to feel like themselves. Effective treatment should not erase emotional depth, warmth, imagination, humor, playfulness, spontaneity, or connection with others. No one should have to sacrifice their sense of identity in exchange for improved concentration. The goal should be to reduce symptoms that interfere with daily life while preserving the person's humanity and individuality. Stimulants might temporarily alter attention, energy, mood, speech, and behavior. Stimulants might reduce certain symptoms and, in some cases, cause side effects that make a person appear or feel different. But symptoms are not personality, and medication effects are not identity. The person remains much more than the condition they experience and much more than the medication they take. If this message resonated with you, my book, Through the Storm, delves deeper into the journey of healing, faith, nervous system survival, and reconnecting with the self. You can find it on Amazon under Maria Piedad DMP. If you like this video, like it, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.